Arabic learning must be easy. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Luay. Welcome to the lecture number 26 of the Arabic language course on our channel, Academia Dimashq or the Mass Academy. Here we go. What shall we do today? So, in this video we will learn about the following. Step number 1 is the introduction, where today we are going to get to know the number 1000. In the second step we then learn the letter number 26. And the last part of our lecture is grammar. We will continue in this lecture with the verb to be. The number 1000, we say الرقم ألف. الرقم ألف. رقم means number and ألف means 1000. I wrote ألف here without any case, to get to know the basic word first, because with تشكيلات or with تنوين would be ألفا ألفا ألف ألفين or الألف الألف الألفي and so on. We will go into it later. The sort of lam in الرقم is lam shamsiya because the first letter in the word is ra. We will see that in this video. So, الرا قا مو أ ال ف. الرقم ألف. Let's continue. Our letter for today is called ha. Ha. The ha is roughly written by drawing a circle. There is the explanatory video that clearly shows how to write the ha. So, as we learned in our series that the letters have different forms, the letter ha has 3 forms, namely, how to write it at the beginning of the word, middle or end of the word. We will see that in the following examples. And now, the video. حرف الهاء. حرف means letter. حرف الهاء. حرف الهاء. And now the main form, a circle at the beginning of the word. There is many ways to write it. Also that is correct. Or like that. And at the middle, 2 ways. Both ways are correct. And at the end of the word. Let's continue. Here we have 2 examples from the first form of the letter ha at the beginning of the word. As simple examples, we have here the noun hawa. Hawa. So, fatha on ha and sukun on hamza. Hawa means air in general. Like for example, I need fresh air. أنا أحتاج إلى هواء نقي. هواء نقي, fresh air. And the air would be al-hawa. Al-hawa. And the second example, the attribute ham. Ham. So, shadda on mim with sukun. Ham means important or major. On the picture is the phrase إعلان هام, means important announcement. And the important or the major thing would be alham. Alham. So we notice that al with the letter ha occurs lam qamariya. الهواء الهام. On this slide we have the first example from above but with all sorts of تشكيلات and تنوين. If you have not watched تشكيلات or تنوين's lecture or would like to watch it again, you can refer to lectures 1 and 3. I explained them in detail there. So the noun هواء is without التعريف, so without an article. That's why here تنوين is used at the end. So that هواء with تنوين الفتح would be هواء. We didn't add alif at the end of هواء because of Hamza. When Hamza comes at the end of the word, then we don't add an alif with the case of تنوين الفتح. So with تنوين الضم would be هواء, and with تنوين الكسر هواء. Now هواء with التعريف would be الهواء. So we don't use تنوين anymore, but we continue with تشكيلات, so that الهواء with فتحة at the end would be الهواء, with ضمة at the end الهواء, or with كسرة الهواء. Now we take the second example, the attribute هام. So with تنوين الفتح would be هاما. We added here the alif at the end. Or with تنوين الضم هام, or with تنوين الكسر هام. Now هام with التعريف would be الهام, with فتحة at the end would be الهامة, with ضمة الهام, or with كسرة الهامي. Now a video to show how to write the examples. So هواء هواء. And with التعريف would be الهواء. So هام. And with شدة would be الهام. Next. On the next slide, we also have two examples, but from the second form of the letter ها, namely مهندس. مهندس. So ضمة on ميم, فتحة on ها, سكون on نون, كسرة under دال, and سكون on سين. مهندس. مهندس means engineer, and the engineer would be المهندس. المهندس. So لام قمرية because the first letter in the word is ميم. And the second example, the noun كهرباء. كهرباء. So فتحة on كاف, سكون on ها, فتحة on راء, and سكون on همزة. كهرباء. كهرباء means electricity, and the electricity would be الكهرباء. So لام قمرية also occurred here because the first letter in the word is كاف. So the word مهندس is without التعريف, so without an article. With تنوين الفتح would be مهندسا is a regular case. We added here normally the alif at the end. And with تنوين الضم مهندس, and with تنوين الكسر مهندس. Now مهندس with التعريف would be المهندس, with فتحة at the end would be المهندسة, with ضمة المهندس, or with كسرة المهندسي. Now the second example, كهرباء without التعريف, so with تنوين الفتح would be كهرباء. The same case like هواء, we don't add an alif at the end because the word ends with همزة. So كهرباء, and with تنوين الضم كهرباء, and with تنوين الكسر كهرباء. Now كهرباء with التعريف would be الكهرباء, so with فتحة at the end would be الكهرباء, with ضمة الكهرباء, or with kasra الكهرباء. Now a video to show how to write the examples. So مهندس مهندس. So ka ra ba and with al-atarif would be al-kahraba. I would say like a notice here, the word muhandis, we spell it muhandis de with a, muhandis, because the letter ends with sukun. On sin there is an sukun, but when we say muhandisan, muhandison, then we spell it with e, muhandisan, muhandison, or with tashkilat also al-muhandisa, al-muhandisi. When the word ends with sukun and for sukun there is an kasra, then we spell it like a, muhandis. Let's continue. Next we have two examples of the third form of ha, but at the end of the word, which is the noun intibah. Intibah, hamzat wasl. So kasra under alif, sukun on noon, kasra under ta, and sukun on ha. Intibah. Intibah means attention. For example, give me your attention. أعطني انتباهك. أعطني انتباهك. Intibahaka, your attention. And the attention would be al-intibah. Al-intibah. So lam qamariya, because the first letter in the word is alif. In the second example, the word wajh. Wajh. So fatha on waw, sukun on jim, and sukun on ha. Wajh. Wajh means face or side or also front, like the faces in the picture. A front in the sense of a face, for example the front of an army or the front of a book. Wajhul kitab. Wajhul kitab, the front of a book. It can also mean as aspect or side. This word has different aspects. هذه الكلمة لها عدة أوجه. عدة أوجه, different aspects. أوجه, here the plural from وجه. And the face or the side or the front would be الوجه. الوجه. So lam qamariya, because the first letter in the word is waw. If we look at the first example here, intibah, we see that the ha comes at the end of the word and still takes the main form. This is because of the alif in front of ha. Alif would be just connected with the previous letter, but not to the next one, so partially. Here the first example, intibah, without al-ta'rif. So with tanween al-fath would be intibahan. Regular case, we added here the alif. And with tanween al-dam, intibahun. And with tanween al-kasr, intibahin. Now intibah with al-ta'rif would be al-intibah. We don't use tanween anymore, but we'll continue with tashkila, so that al-intibah with fatha at the end would be al-intibaha. With dhamma, al-intibahu. And with kasra, al-intibahi. Now we take the second example, wajh. wajh. So with tanween al-fath would be wajhan. We added here the alif. With tanween al-dam would be wajhun. And with tanween al-kasr wajhin. Now al-wajh is a noun with al-ta'rif, so that with fatha at the end would be al-wajha, with dhamma al-wajhu, or with kasra al-wajhi. Now a video to show how to write the examples. انتباه انتباه. And with al-ta'rif would be al-intibah. So wajh wajh. Let's continue. That was all regarding the letter Ha, and finally we come to the grammatical part. Today we continue to study the verb to be. Returning to lecture number 8, we got to know the tenses of the verbs. Al-af'al means the verbs, and their tenses are 3. Either madi means past, mudari' means present, or mustaqbal means future. Now on this slide we have the verb of the first kind, al-kawn, means to be. This verb in madi is called kana, in mudari' yakunu, and finally in amr, kun. We notice the verb in madi consists of 3 letters, namely kaf, alif, and noon, kana. Let's continue. Now on this slide we start conjugating the verb in amr. So in imperative, number 1 we have kun, kun with anta, kun, but we say direct kun, means be for singular masculine. Number 2, kuni, kuni for anti, means be for singular feminine. And number 3, kunu, kunu. We don't spell the alif at the end of kunu. The alif here has a grammatical reason. We will discuss that later. So kunu for antum means be for plural masculine. And now the video. Ta ko kon. We say direct kon. So ti kuni, but we say directly kuni. So antum kunu, kunu. We say directly kunu. Let's move on. Here on this slide we have number 4, kunna, antunna, kunna. Directly kunna means be for plural feminine. And finally number 5, kuna, kuna for antuma and means be for 2 persons. And now the video. So to na ku na antunna kunna, but directly kunna. So أنتما كونا, but directly we say كونا. That's it for this lecture. To practice writing the letter H, I have attached a PDF file in the info box below. You can print it out and then take your time to practice writing with it. I have also prepared a small quiz which you can also beat out. And finally, I summarized the content of the lecture in a third document. I hope that the lecture was easy and understandable for you. So, good luck and see you next time.